Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to game week 27 of the English Championship. And we're going to look at the weekend's programmes and try and predict a few results as usual. So we've had a fortnight's break because of the cup competitions, or essentially the FA Cup last weekend. There were a couple of games during this midweek, but only a couple of catch-up matches. I'll probably refer to those as we go through, but essentially I'll be just looking back at what happened a couple of weeks ago, and more importantly, what is likely to happen this coming weekend. So we all start as usual on Friday, on the Friday, which is Friday the 17th of January. And we're hoping, I think, for an improvement in the UK weather. Winter's hit pretty hard over here in the UK in the last few weeks. So hopefully we'll have a full programme of games without any postponements and fans travelling unnecessary and all of that. So there's been a bit of that, which is always unfortunate and not very pleasant at all. So let's hope for a little bit of break in the weather, a good programme of games to get us back on track as we go into the real business end of the season. As I say, well over halfway now. Game week 27 is where we are at. So we start on the Friday, as I say, and it's Burnley against Sunderland. So two of the heavyweights meeting straight up, get us underway. Second against fourth, both in pretty good, decent form. Burnley, of course, chugging along with that watertight defence, still only 9 goals conceded. They probably could do with knocking a few in at the other end, as we know, but that's the way they go about it, and it's very effective indeed. Sunderland, a couple of wins recently, including a 1-0 win over Portsmouth last time out at home. They probably would have been happy with a few more goals in that match because they scored very early on and ended up being a 1-0 win. However, they've only had one loss in the last 6, and they're mixing it up with the top boys there, only 3 points off the top. So it's two of the big four, if you like, as they are at the moment, going head to head. And I think Burnley will just churn out one of their sort of regulation wins to 0. So I'm going to take them. There won't be much in it. There never is when Burnley meet the top sides. But they do know how to win these games. They've been chipping away at them, and that's what's got them back fully into contention. So I'm going to take Burnley to take the match by a 1-0. Burnley 1, Sunderland 0. Then we go into the trio of Saturday lunchtime matches, starting with Cardiff against Swansea. Indeed, the return of the South Wales Derby. Always a feisty affair. So it's a real lunchtime feast there for the South fans of both those sides. And I think there'll be goals in it. Cardiff have had a couple of plucky results, including this, as I say, this midweek. They were catching up a game, and they had a handy draw with Watford. And last time out on the weekend, a couple of weeks ago, they had a good draw away at Middlesbrough. So they're picking up some results, although they're still in a very precarious position, just above the drop zone. But they haven't lost in the last 4. As I say, a couple of decent draws against two of the better sides, or two of the fancied sides in the division. So I think this will be, and Swansea, they had a draw as well against West Brom at home, so they'll be slightly disappointed with that, maybe. But as we know, West Brom are A, the draw specialists, and B, very tough to beat, only lost 4 themselves. So I think there'll be goals around in the Welsh Derby to get us underway on Saturday. I'm going to go for Cardiff City 2, Swansea 2. Then we go to Millwall against Hull City. Now, Hull improving all the while, really, under their new manager, under their new coach. But they still find themselves in the bottom 3. So that's a sort of contradiction in a way. But I just think they're looking a bit more likely to get results now than they were in the autumn months, in that late autumn period, and including a plucky 3-3 draw, no less, against Leeds United last time out. 3-1 down at home, still had the motivation and wherewithal to keep going, and snatched a point right at the end. So they'll sort of draw on that as they go into this tricky away game at Millwall. Millwall had a good win in the Cup this week against Dagenham and Redbridge, so they're back to winning ways. But as I say, in the league, it's only one win in their last 6, as the form table goes. So they'll be looking to try and have a chance here against one of the bottom sides or bottom 3 sides to pick up the points. However, I'm going to stick my neck out here and go with the Hull improvement to continue to improve. And I'm going to say, because Hull, as I say, Millwall have been on a tricky run in the league. So I think Hull will go there and just nick the points and get a welcome 3 points away from home. So I'm going to say Millwall 1, Hull City 2. Then we come to Plymouth Argyle against QPR, who we know have parted company with Wayne Rooney. So the new, don't think the new coach is quite in place yet, but it's nearing that. He may well be in place by the time the game goes ahead on Saturday. So Plymouth, again, they picked up a midweek result against Stoke, 1 each. So that is a decent point for them. They've had 3 draws on the trot, including, of course, well, not including in that, but including in this period, one of the cup shocks of last weekend when they won away at Brentford, Premier League Brentford. So not many teams have done that this season, and certainly given Plymouth's record in the league to keep a clean sheet at Brentford, and hardly anybody's done that either. So that was a triumph for them, and they really enjoyed their day out at Brentford. I saw some of the highlights of the game and the pictures afterwards. It was great for their fans. They've had a real long slog up and down the country, as they always do, but it feels even more painful, I think, when your team is really getting beaten so heavily as they have been away from home. So Plymouth showing a bit of pluckiness since the departure of Wayne Rooney. Perhaps that just change of voice in the changing room and all that sort of thing usually gives players a bit of a boost, and it seems to have done with Plymouth. They're taking on Queen's Park Rangers, who, as I say, having that improvement, a really good improvement, just the 1 loss in the last 6. A couple of wins now on the bounce as well, including last time out on the Sky Camera, in front of the Sky Cameras, a 2-1 win over Luton. A bit more about Luton when we get to them. So, yes, I think here then, Plymouth and the QPR will sort of have a little bit of a stalemate here. They'll cancel each other out. Both sort of improving teams, although Plymouth's league position isn't showing that yet. But they've got a bit of work to do as well. But I think they'll pick up another point here. Plymouth 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. That takes us into the 3 o'clocks on Saturday. And first up there is Coventry against Bristol City. Now, Coventry lost 2-1 to Norwich last time out. 2 very evenly matched sides there, 2 mid-table teams. And Norwich just took the points on the day. Coventry haven't quite had that real new manager boost under Frank Lampard. They've 2 wins in the last 6, no win in 3. So they'll want to be looking to try and pick up points here against Bristol City. Now, Bristol City, on paper, are showing decent form, but their performances just lack a little bit of oomph. As I say, I follow them quite closely, as people of this who watch this clip regularly will know, because they are my team. But they just lack a bit of flair still. And they had a rather, not drab 1-0 win over Derby, but it was effective, let's put it that way. Effective 1-0 win over Derby last time out. A brilliant goal to unlock the match. And ended up being 1-0. So we shall see. I think there may be goals around in this, because I think both sides do want to play if they can. But it's just that Bristol City's plan B is a bit of a struggle. We'll see what Coventry can come up with. So I'm going to take Coventry and Bristol City to play out a 2 each draw. Coventry City 2, Bristol City 2. Then we come on to Derby against Watford. And as I say, Derby last time out, excuse me, Derby last time out lost to Bristol City. And they were disappointed with that because they had a fair share of the game but just couldn't convert. And Watford lost to Sheffield United at home, so their home form was breached again there. But they did get a point in midweek this week against Cardiff. Excuse me. So they will be wanting to get their little blip back on track, because it's a bit more than a blip looking at their last 6. 4 defeats now for Watford in the last 6. So they'll want to get back to that form that got them into the playoff picture. However, I'm going to go for Derby's home record, which has been pretty good, and they get a vociferous crowd there, don't they, at Derby. So I'm going to take Derby to take the match by 1-0. Then we come on to Luton against Preston North End, and since I last spoke to you guys, Luton have parted company with Rob Edwards. That was after the Queen's Park Rangers defeat. It was sort of coming, wasn't it, I think? He just wasn't, I say he just wasn't. The club as a whole have just got into a bit of a rut at the moment. He just didn't seem able to come up with too many of the answers to get Luton really firing. And their away record, as we know, this away record of 10 successive away losses is really pinned them down at the bottom of the table, or the bottom region of the table. 4 losses on the trot in the league. As I say, that loss to Queen's Park Rangers, the change of manager, and they've headhunted the manager at Wycombe Wanderers, Matt Bloomfield. So we'll see how he gets on. But yes, he's been taken from Wycombe. Presumably some compensation for that for them, because they're flying high in League One. So that's got his CV enhanced, and that's why they've gone for him. So we'll see how he gets on. I think first up though is a difficult one against Preston. Preston really been digging in for some results. 2 losses in the last 6, a couple of wins, a couple of draws. So a very even sort of graph at the moment for them. They are drawing quite a few, 12 draws, which is just one shy of West Bromwich Albion's 13 draws. So Preston, as I say, but they really dug in from after a dodgy start to the season, and I think they'll get a point here. So I'm going to take Luton 1, Preston North End 1. Then we go to another team having a bit of a managerial bounce with Gary Rowett, Oxford United. They got a decent draw at Preston last time out. And Oxford just stopped to that slide down towards the bottom. They changed their manager, seems to have had an initial impact, as quite often that does, as we know. And Oxford have not lost in 5. However, they are up against a tough Blackburn side here. Blackburn do play this midweek. I haven't got that result because I'm recording this before the result. That match has been played on the Wednesday night. It's Blackburn against Portsmouth. I'm going to say that Blackburn will probably take that match. So they should, if they do take that match, go into the game at at Oxford, in a good frame of mind. They're in a good frame of mind anyway. They're just on the verge of the playoffs, but they haven't won in 5. They had those 7 wins, I think 6 or 7 wins if you remember, and then that sort of hit the buffers. They went down a siding instead of staying on the main line, and they've come up with a winless stretch of 5 matches. As I say, I think they'll ease past Portsmouth in their midweek game on Wednesday night, which is the catch-up game, one of the catch-up games, and I think they will take the points as well in a gritty affair down at Oxford. So Oxford United 0, Blackburn 1 is my prediction for the Saturday game. Then we have Portsmouth, who have got a tough week, as I say, away to Blackburn midweek, and then home to Middlesbrough on Saturday, which is a real toughie. Middlesbrough, their goal scoring has just dried up a little bit. They were knocking in goals right, left and centre a few weeks ago. That's just not there at the moment as in the way that it was. They are unbeaten in 6, 4 draws in those 6 though. But they last time out it was a draw against Cardiff at home, which that will disappoint them a little bit. But as I say, Cardiff are just having a couple of plucky results. So it's so cutthroat in this league, isn't it? Anyone from Plymouth up to Leeds, it's so difficult to predict who's going to do what on any given day. But there is, and it's just that if you can get that bit of consistency, it does take you up to into the business area. So we are, as I say, where we are, Portsmouth home to Middlesbrough. Although Portsmouth will be backed by their usual vociferous and passionate backing, I think Middlesbrough will take the points here on Saturday. I think they'll just be too good. If both teams bring their A game to the table, Middlesbrough will win, and I think Middlesbrough will need to do that, to be fair, and I think they will. So I'm going to go Portsmouth 1, Middlesbrough 2. Then we have Sheffield United, who stuttered a bit, didn't they, just around the Christmas time. But they did come up with an excellent 2-1 win down at Watford last time out. So that will have given them back a little bit of confidence, if it was even any confidence was oozing away. And they are at home to Norwich. Now, Norwich have... they just can't get any consistency going, although they have had 3 wins in the last 4 in the league. But they did have for me anyway, a disappointing 4-0 home defeat in the Cup to Brighton, which surprised me a bit. I don't know what sort of size either team put out, but it just caught my eye. I thought Norwich would have done a little bit better than that. But there we go. The Cup is gone for them. And I think it's going to be a tough assignment up at Sheffield United on Saturday. I think they will want to get back-to-back wins after that good win at Watford. And I think they will. I think it will be Sheffield United 2, Norwich City 0. 2 to go then. And the first of those is West Bromwich Albion against Stoke. Stoke, as I say, under their new manager, Mark Robins, are just starting to pick up some gritty results as well. He will get them, I'm sure, hard to beat, if nothing else, to start with. That certainly happened with no losses in 3. I think this will be a tough one, though, up at West Brom. West Brom just edged back into the playoff picture on 40 points. As I say, that 1-1 draw at Swansea last time out. They'll want to start in the second half of the season that we're now well into. They'll want to start getting out of this draw mode they go into, and get them a few more wins on the board if they're going to make a real impression at the top. I think it's too far to say they can go up automatically, as it is for quite a few of these sides now. I think 12 points is a lot to make up in this league over 20 matches. But it can be done. Obviously, the maths and the points are there. So I think they'll get 3 here, though. Stoke, with probably one of the first teams this season, if not the first, not to score against Plymouth at home. And Plymouth, as I say, got an excellent away clean sheet, which gave them the confidence to go into that cup win I was talking about. So Plymouth, although still bottom, starting to show a bit of signs of life away from home as well. So good for them. But here I'm going to go for West Brom to take Stoke at home. I think they'll show up on Saturday and just edge this one. Mark Robins and all. West Bromwich Albion 2, Stoke City 1. And the final game, but certainly last but not least, on the Sunday lunchtime is Yorkshire Derby to finish the weekend and enjoy our Sunday lunch with. It's Leeds United against Sheffield Wednesday. As I say, we know that Sheffield Wednesday are nicely set in mid-table after all the rigours of last season, so they're still going quite nicely. Only 1 defeat in 7. Their fans will be quite happy with the progress they seem to be making. And as I say, within reach of the playoff top 6, just the 3 points behind. But it's a tough ask to go to Leeds, and they'll, after a couple of draws, will want to get 3 points back on the board, because they can feel the heat of Burnley and Sheffield United breathing down their necks once again. They've been doing that all season almost. So the Leeds just have that point advantage at the top. As I say, couple of draws on the bounce, including, in their eyes, a disappointing 3-3 draw away at Hull. Disappointing in the match that they were 3-1 up with little time to go, and Hull, I think, came back in the last 10 minutes. I think the equalising goal was in stoppage time. So Leeds will be disappointed by that, but they've got to put that to one side. I'm sure they will. And I think, although it's a local game or Yorkshire game, all Yorkshire affair, I think Leeds will take the points. It's a tough ask for Sheffield Wednesday, but you just never know with the way they've played this season. They always score goals and concede goals, but plenty in a plenty. In Sheffield Wednesday's matches, 78 goals have been scored, so there will be goals in this match for sure. but I think it'll go Leeds United 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1 to finish up the weekend. So there we have it. We're back on track in the Championship, and we'll see where we are at the end of that. Always there'll be some shocks, some unexpected results, some thrills and spills, and probably some controversy as well to throw into the mix. So I hope you all have a lovely footballing weekend. Let's hope the weather stays fair as it can do at this time of year, so that we can get the games in and games played and enjoy our football as we want to do. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave comments under the video if you wish to. I will reply to any that appear there. Having said that, I will now bid you goodbye and take care, stay healthy, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.